Hello everyone, this is Slowlane123 bringing you episode 2 of Zoom Full Ring, as this series is now called. Today we are going to do what I think most people enjoy the most. It's a member review of DC, a DC member review, however you want to call it. All you really need to know about this member is that he plays a pretty straightforward 14-11 tag game. I spoke with him a little bit about his game, and pretty straightforward taggy. And then the bottom here, I've got, this is his HUD setup. Maybe you want to scribble it down if you're a really dedicated video reviewer. Otherwise, I'll just be keeping this little thing off to the side of my screen so I can realize what stats are where. But I will try to talk semi-universally in each situation and discuss what we'd do against an aggressive player and a passive player, or a loser player, or whatever it might be. So that's that, and we will jump into the video. Alrighty, so we're going to be reviewing Poemel. Don't know him well at all. We've messaged back and forth in email a few times. He's a DC member. Has been for a few years, posts a little bit on the forums, and tends to get DC run good to start videos with flopping a set on table 2. Sorry, just adjusting my chair. Straight away we flop this set, and I like the bet sizing here. 100 big blinds deep. We could potentially go a tiny bit bigger. There's nothing wrong with the sizing. I just feel like that is one of the drawiest ace-high boards that you can get. So maybe a tiny bit bigger, like 375, 4 or so. But nothing major there, seems okay. Obviously, the weaker the players that we're playing against, the bigger we're going to want to make our bet size and be more unbalanced in this situation. So yeah, always nice to open up a video with a little set ball. Looks like you might be contemplating a 3-bet on table 3. And there's Gambles again from last week's vid. Haven't actually tried to get into contact with him or anything. But yeah. I'm sorry, that's from last week's vid. I used to play with him years ago on Cake. So, looks like he's making a decision what to do on table 2 here. Once he makes the decision, I will. Okay, so it looks like the opener was 12-9, pretty nitty, so that's probably not going to be a profitable flat by itself. And then we got a nit and a tag with reasonably high 3-bets for both. So yeah, I think that's a pretty standard fold there. And the opener was also only $24, half 50 big blinds deep, so definitely a good fold there. This is going to be a standard open for me with ace-5 suited, and looks like it's going to be for our German friend here too. Sorry, having to keep adjusting my chair. I hope it's not too noisy for you guys on the mic. Already it feels frantic, doesn't it? It's very fast pace. It's good. It's good. I can pause this week, which is nice. Okay, definitely gonna see about on table 1, I think. I think this is kind of close, to be honest, on table 1. I feel like there's 13-12s that are 3-betting a lot. I mean, sorry, I'm assuming that's his 3-bet. What is going on? 3-bet percentage. I seem to be missing a stat or something, so I'm just going to pause for a second. Okay, so I was right. Well, I didn't say it, but our German friend seems to have left off the second line of his hard stats in the document that he gave me, so I'm going to assume that that's 3-bet, fold to 3-bet, and then I don't know what this number is that's 0, 1, and a 3 on a bunch of people's thing. Whatever it is, it should be a have a decimal place in it, because if you're having a number that small, you need to know the specificialities of it, or whatever the word is. Anyway, it might be folded 4-bet. We'll figure it out as we go along. The thing about the ace-8 is that I feel like our opponent's really going to be heavily weighted towards like pocket 8s to pocket jacks there, I would say. Just because of his high 3-bet, he tends to 3-bet and nearly never cold call, so out of position that's even going to be more magnified. So I feel like if we bet once here, we're going to have to bet multiple at least. We don't really have any equity other than if he calls, I doubt an 8's good. And I mean, we can hit 9 or a 5 for a straight draw, and there's no clubs. If this was a club, it would be a pretty standard c-bet, I think. But as it is, I don't mind just checking and giving up here on this one. Hopefully he's planning on betting multiple streets, I guess. Anyway, we will resume the video. I just tried to, but I didn't have it clicked. And then there was, sorry, a cold call. Oh man, that skipped way too far back. Sorry, let me just get it back. Alright, so we can see here on table 3, we cold call versus 12-9. It depends what the big blind's doing. He's got this orange tag on him, but I can see the yellowy orange tag is also on a couple other players who have standard stats, so I'm going to assume it's just a tag, in which case I'm probably going to 3-bet or fold it, and against someone who I don't have any stats on other than 12-9 over a smallish sample, I'm probably just going to fold there. I think it's kind of close. I don't really hate calling, but I don't think it's going to be very profitable against someone who's probably pretty tight, and we don't have any stats on. We have no idea how he's playing post-flop. I suppose calling 19 suited might be okay and folding smaller suited connectors, but I don't know. I don't love it. I feel like we're going to get squeezed reasonably often if the big blind is taggy as his colour seems to indicate. I think that's what happens, is it not? So here we are back on table 2 with our ace-8. Hopefully we get some good turn cards. So interestingly enough, I say all that about him being very heavily weighted. Oh my god, I'm looking at the wrong stats. Sorry dudes. The guy who called is a 1911. And that c-bet is going to be absolutely super standard. Well, it's interesting to discuss it nonetheless against a 13-12 if he had called from the big blind or even the small blind. Yeah, I hope there wasn't 2 players in there. I'm pretty sure it was just 1 player. I wouldn't be c-betting against 2 players, but against one 1911, then yeah, that's fine. He's probably, you can assume over a smaller sample that he might be he at least has a chance of being a weaker player, so c-betting there is going to be fine. And the thing about c-betting, I'd probably c-bet smaller actually against a 1911 because I feel like they're going to be kind of loose passive and probably a bit calling stationy. So if we bet a little smaller, I don't feel like his range is hugely elastic there, but elastic enough to the point where if we bet a little smaller, it can actually be a value bet. We can be getting called by, you know, a lot of just crappy gut shots, maybe floated by some overs, some worse ace highs, some flush draws, etc, etc. So yeah, maybe just bet a little smaller there. We're going to assume, I guess if we're betting that board, we're going to assume that he's a weaker player and has a wider out of position calling range there, and as a result, we don't need to bet as big because we can just be a little unbalanced against players who are presumably weaker. Five two open on the button. That's very loose. That's fine by me. That's interesting. I did not really expect that from a 14-11. I suppose we've got the weak player in the big line. No, we can't say anything. It's only 3 hands. I thought it was 33 hands for a second. Yeah, let's just see what happens. if I'm gonna bet that size. I don't hate betting. I don't love it. I don't mind checking and giving up on a board that really only trying to get folds from like pocket eights and worse, and smaller pocket pairs, and like maybe some small suited connectors and stuff. So easy 3-bet for value and get it in on table 3. No? Wow. Trying to see why we wouldn't 3-bet there. Can't really see any reason. Small blind maybe is a bit squeezy, I guess. Maybe that was his justification. I don't know. That's just a standard 3-bet against an unknown for me there and get it in. I think most people will say the same. Now we're going to be, I was just about to say, we're going to be in an awkward spot when it comes like a 10 high board and you get action 3 ways. Hopefully we're not going to plan on betting 325. It looks like he's about to click bigger. I like to go like 425 here, 450. I just don't really want to have any room for movement. And we'll decide what we're doing against what opponent when and if we're raised. Yeah, 350 is just too small. That is pretty much one of the top 5 or so drawiest boards you can imagine. So, especially in a multi-way pot, we just need to bet bigger here. And if someone plays back at us, then we'll make a decision. If we bet small and they call here, we're just giving them such a better price than we do if we bet 450 or 425. We get let out too for a donk. Dollar donk on table 2 here. Probably just give up on this a good percentage of the time. If he makes a play, I can't really blame him. If I'm going to make a play, I'm going to make it small. No, I don't like making a play, actually. Yeah, good. Sorry, I kind of missed the action on table 4. Judging by the size of the pot, it looks like we probably ISO'd. But if we cold called, that's fine too. If we ISO'd, I'm probably going to bet big because our opposition is probably quite weak and probably going to call on a dry board like this with just about any pair or any gut shot. If we cold called, then I don't mind betting a bit smaller because I expect him to be check folding this sort of board a lot of the time. So yeah, with that sizing, I'm hoping that we cold called, and that sizing is absolutely perfect. You could go 3 as well if you wanted. If you're ISOing, then I just feel like you're going to get called really wide, so you should bet a bit bigger. Bit of an awkward turn card against really the only player that is deep enough to give us problems on this board. Once we get to this point in the hand, then I don't mind that sizing. And fold is definitely our best result there. Pretty loose over a small sample guy. In fact, very loose over a small sample guy. Has 3-bet out under the gun open for an MP1. Yeah, nothing. I mean, it's just too loose over that sample to do anything but 4-bet and call it off. The 4-bet's pretty small. I mean, for me personally, I 4-bet a lot, so I'm generally making my 4-bets pretty small because I'm bluffing a lot. I doubt that a 14-11 tag is bluffing a lot in this spot. So really, and especially when you've opened under the gun, he's 3-bet from MP1, it's like, it's so much rarer that he's bluffing you, and as a result, it should be so much rarer that you're bluffing him back. So in that sort of spot, you want to go a little bigger, because in a spot where you have so few bluffs in your range, then not necessarily that you have so few bluffs in your range, but in a spot where you won't be bluffing as much as, for example, a button versus blind situation where you'll be 4-betting, then you want to keep your 4-bet bigger here, because yeah, you're just not going to be bluffing as often in this spot. It's not like you're going to be, just standard bluffing like king queen suited or something here. Very often, you might occasionally, but yeah. Anyway, so I'd probably go a little bigger there, maybe to 15 or so, but not a huge deal. Looks like this guy's pretty aggressive and stuff, so presumably the 5-bet jam will fold. I don't imagine he'll be calling very often. And he, of course, proves me wrong. Really just more reason again for a bigger 4-bet. Table 4 is obviously going to be standard open. Table 1, sorry, I missed it again. If we cold call, either way I like betting. And sizing, this guy is just pretty standard, slightly loose aggressive player, so I'd probably just bet about half pot and not think too hard about it. The bet on table. I mean, I'm one to bet very small in 4-bet pots, but that is incredibly small. Seems probably too small for me. I think I'd probably go at least 9 or 10. It is a pretty awkward spot. I probably have to go for 2 here and then make a decision on the river. It's going to be hard here. I don't hate jamming. I don't know. Let's see what you do and then I'll make comments on it. I don't mind betting like 9 or 10 here and then shoving a river, and it would be fine obviously doing it with aces or kings as well because there's no draws or anything. We still have equity a decent percentage of the time as well, so sorry, I kind of missed the action on table 4. We'll watch this hand and then come back for what happened on table 4. Kind of does make it awkward into this spot when the stacks are the way they are. I don't know if we can really ever expect to have any fold equity here, but I don't know. Sometimes you can just go with your gut and feel like he's just planned on hero calling you with 2 10s in here and then has decided that he's going to fold to 3. I don't know. Checking and giving up is probably fine too, I'd say. So we'll just jump back to that king. So here we are back at the king-queen hand. Um, 15 to 239 seems okay. Probably about like 3 on the turn. 350 would be fine too. There. Kind of want to bluff the river. I just feel like you gotta bluff the river. Because I just don't feel like someone plays the bare ace of diamonds, ace 10 with the ace of diamonds, really the only combo it could be. Ace king surely just 3-bets pre at least a very high percentage of the time. I don't know, I just think in this spot it's very rare that you're going to see the ace of diamonds, and you're not going to see the queen of diamonds that often either. So I feel like a big bet on the river to push him off any 2 pairs straight sets, obviously anything that's not a flush. 858, somewhere around there. I didn't see what happened in the river. Oh, yeah, 2 jacks, okay. Yeah, I wonder if he folds that. I don't know. 1911, he looks kind of loose passive. He might have called. But yeah, I don't totally hate. Well, I don't hate at all giving up with the king queen and just expecting to have some percentage of the time to have showdown value, but I'd probably turn that into a bluff just as a matter of personal preference because I'm very aggressive and he's taken a very weak line and I don't ever expect him to have much of a hand there. Oh, do not like that. Cold call with ace 2 suited. That's not even close. I thought maybe you were lining up a 3-bet here, which would have been not great, but acceptable, but ace 2 suited here is definitely not a cold call. Easy fold, and if you want a 3-bet, I go to like something stupid like 225 or 250. He's only got 50 big blinds, and he looks kind of weird from his stats, small samples, so yeah, definitely not cold calling though. There's nothing really good going to come from that. Then we just give up on that board. I mean, I don't know. I'd probably raise that board. 7-3-4 monotone. If I'm gonna make the call, I'm gonna have to raise that board, but I'm not making the call. Anyway, moving on. 4x open under the gun one. That's fine. This is interesting. Ah, sugar. Yeah. Sorry, I just hit the wrong button and it funked out on me. So it went check jack on the flop. I don't love the pre-flop check. I don't know. I'd just personally like to maintain control of hands against people I don't really know anything about. Especially when you have the ace of spades. It's like there's fewer hands that he can bluff with, in addition to hands that much stronger and can turn that many more outs. If we decide to turn into a bluff, etc., etc. Yeah, I would have bet that flop. I think a lot of people check there though. I don't really like it. If I'm the opponent in this hand, then you're going to have a hard time calling down with ace queen here. Once you go into check call mode. So, I mean, this is just an awkward spot now. I mean, you've just got to call. He just kind of has control over what he has and what you have. I mean, you just pretty obviously have like queen jack or queen ace here. I don't think you ever really have anything else. I really doubt that you check to check a king on the board. So he can really just do what he wants. He could potentially have checked back to king himself to try and induce. Now he's raising for value. It's possible, but I think it's probably somewhat unlikely. So this is going to be a pretty easy call, I think. And banking on no heart on the river, I'm probably going to call just about any river card. Yeah, I just feel like I believe he's going to have a good portion of hearts here. He'll have maybe some small percentage of time a check back king. Some other bizarre percentage of time he might have something like jack 10, ace jack, jack 9. Maybe. I don't know. He doesn't seem that loose to have jack 9, so jack 10 or ace jack, I guess. Ace 10 sort of thing. Yeah. Let's see what he bets and make a decision there. I get the feeling Hero's about to snap. 950, this is going to be an easy call. If he's checked back a king, then good on him. Just given that line, we can never fold. Whoa. He's actually thinking about it. I'm not sure what there is to think about here. Easy give up on table 1 with the ace queen. Nothing else interesting happening on other tables. Let's gonna have a sip of water while we wait on our hero to call. Ship the nickels. Pretty easy call, really. The guy had 8-8. Yeah, I just expect to see funky, stupid stuff. Not necessarily 8-8, but just like ace-jack or something stupid, or hearts, or, you know, ace-4 that turned a gut shot and had an overcard or something like that. I don't know, there's just a bunch of hands that you could have. The line just doesn't make enough sense for a vacuum, for a player that we don't really have any stats on. I mean, he doesn't look like he's some awesome player. It's not like he's just playing like 14-12 or something really straightforward over the 50 hands that we had, so we can probably assume that he's at least slightly weaker player. Kind of just want to check and get a showdown with the ace queen. Betting's okay. Not exactly sure what the action transpired as on table 4. We're going to have to go back because it's turning into a monster pot. And my mouse is... Okay, so it's... Sorry, my mouse was cutting out, is what I was saying before I paused. It's a multi-way pot here. So we overcall with 10-8, absolutely fine. The donk is fine. Loose passive player raises, is that what happens here? 22-9 raises. He min raises. I mean, that for me is kind of close. I don't know, he just doesn't have much money left either to give us any implied odds. I'm probably just pitching at the min raise. I don't like it coming from a 22-9. We'll see what's what on the turn. If it's really small. So this is it. You're just like in this weird spot now. You're getting like 4.2 to 1 or something ridiculous. It just really looks like he's setting up a river shove, doesn't it? Fold it. Fold it. Fold it. What's he looking at there? I don't know what it was, but it was something, and folding was the correct decision. More likely so on the flop. I mean, when we call and then we give up on that turn, it basically makes it kind of look like we were calling the extra 3 because we thought we had implied odds potentially, because I think when someone min raises, generally they bet the turn. So we didn't have very good implied odds, so I would have just folded the flop there. And definitely folded the turn. Queens, we open $1.50, we get a couple of players call. Okay, so we've got a fish and a decent semi-lag reg, I guess, or yep, something like that. So I'm going to go big here. I'm probably just going to be unbalanced with the fish in and bet. I mean, we're not really going to be bluffing with the fish in, so it's a question of how big do we want to bet with our value hands. I like really big. I like 425. 350 is not enough for me. 425 for 450 is all going to be numbers that I enjoy seeing. 350, not so much. This is going to be kind of gross spot. It's not the right start, whatever it is looking for. Easy overcall on table 2. I don't know what state he's looking for. He's got a decent little sample here of 300 hands. I would have been looking for his check raise percentage. I would have been looking for his aggression frequency by street, his went to showdown, and his $1 at showdown. If any of those are out of line, then I'm gonna call and see what's what. Yeah. Good card on the turn for us just means it's less likely he had a set of 8s, and it also means that he yeah, I also don't think that very often that the opponent here would have check raised an 8 on flop. Sorry, I'm struggling a little right now. When this is kind of an interesting spot because this sizing to me kind of means one of two things. To me, it's like it's like, hey, I've got pocket 5s or pocket 3s, or potentially even maybe 8-5 or something, and you're drawing dead basically with whatever the hell you got. But I don't want you to fold, and I'm gonna put it just enough money in there to shove the river, but it's gonna be like a kind of awkward shove. It's either that or alternatively, I think really the only other option is like a 7-9 or 6-7 of spades. Or maybe diamonds, but most likely spades. That is like, well, I want to maintain the impetus because otherwise I just have to check fold on a paired board, blah, blah, blah. But I don't want to put too much money in there, blah, 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 that sort of thinking. So I'm thinking he either has a boat here or he has the flush draw. I think a hand like jacks or 10s here is kind of out. I think they're going to be kind of polarized in these spots. So this is an easy call, and I'm going to call most rivers. That's an absolutely fantastic river. Oh, that is probably the best river I've ever seen. Yes! I love that river. Sorry. That's such a sick river. It got better the more I thought about it because I realized that we beat all his 5s and 3s now. And we could be potentially bluffing with a flush for ourselves if we shove and he has pocket 5s or pocket 3s. Which sucks because now we're not going to get to see if my analysis was correct, because I doubt he's going to call with 5s or 3s. But this is interesting. Yeah, I like this bet. I hadn't even really thought about it myself, so high five to you, Op. I really like this bet actually because I think I like this bet. Because he's still going to call with 5s and 3s, or if he some reason had something like jacks or 10s. Only issue is that we lose value from jacks and 10s if we choose to shove here. In addition, we lose. Would we bet this size with like the ace-4 of spades or something? Would we not just shove, realizing that that's such a terrible card for his range? So maybe we just be a little unbalanced the first time or two that we do this against this opponent. Could potentially be an option. But I like in this spot just making sure that we're getting paid. I think it's fine. And if he folds here, then I think my analysis of him having XX of spades is going to be spot on. Yes. I don't see what else he could ever possibly have in that spot. We opened ace-3 and bet the flop. Very dry board, so I don't expect to get a lot of floats. Check folding I think is probably best here. I don't really see what we're getting value from with no history and in a vacuum. It kind of just smells like 7s or 8s there. I'd probably go slightly smaller against the short stack on table 4. Like 325 or 3. And because last week's episode was such a monster and I went on and fluffed about a bit, I'm going to keep it reasonably short this week. We're at 35 minutes at the moment. I'll probably just do like 45 or 50 minutes this week because we went for like something like 65 or 70 last week. So, or maybe it was like 74. Yeah. Sorry, distracted. Get with it. So we obviously opened Queen Jack and yep, standard C bet. Don't really mind what you do on the turn. I don't mind betting small. I think I'd prefer betting small if I had the Queen of Spades. Maybe there's less reason to bet. I'm just thinking about whether I'm betting or not. Yeah, I'm just not sure how much value this has, unless we're totally turning it into a bluff, in which case it'd probably just be unbalanced and bet a bit bigger in it when we're playing in a vacuum against a guy. Anyway, let's see what happens. Wow, this is very nice to see that he's going for a very thin value bet on the river. To be honest, I don't really expect this from most 25, 50, 14, 11 tags. So that's nice. I don't know. Hopefully this is just standard for him and he's not ultra thinking about stuff because he's on video. And he knows this is going to DC, which is, I'm pretty sure happens a lot when people send me video reviews. But this is good to see. Even if he just considers it and doesn't go for it, it's just nice to see that he's lining up a bet here. If he's going to bet, I like 3 or 4. It is really thin. I think he's going to have better jacks a decent percentage of the time. Or like a small flush or something. And I guess hard to say because it's basically a vacuum play. I'm just too curious to know if he made the bet or not. Sorry, I missed it. I'm going to go back. So I haven't seen if he makes the bet or not, but he continuation bets and gets calls to check raise on table 2 here against one of those sort of standard Nidia type of players, just taggy really, which seems fine so far. There's comments to be made everywhere here. I don't think we can really call on the turn. I think he's planning on calling. King Queen's going to be standard C bet in a 3-bet pot, and let's see what happens on this thin value bet here. No, he checked it back, but at least he considered it. So I would have liked to see a bet of like 3 or 4 on the river there, but yeah, 9-8. I think that's probably pretty much definitely calling in a vacuum. King Queen, I assume we C bet and took it down. If we didn't, it should have been a C bet. And there's a fold with the King 8 here. So it looks like this guy's playing fairly taggy and folding to every 3-bet so far over 90 hands, and he's isolated, so 3-bet here seems fine. Going slightly less than 3x is amazingly perfect, and we get a fold, which is nice. Uh, 120 deep on table 4 here. 3x, 3-bet. He is like a phenomenally low 3-bet if it's 2.0, as I'm suspecting it is. I think I'm going to call here. I'd probably fold some smaller pocket pairs. But 10s here I'd probably call with. I might even call with 9s. We're, yeah, over 120 big blinds deep. And the only thing for me is that we're 14-11 in this video, aren't we? We're not 22-18 or whatever I would be playing. So I'd get so much less credit when I check raise boards with sets. I think it's still going to be fine to call, but he folded. It might not be a plus EV call for him. I think it definitely would be for me and my image, but that's fine. Still think it would be close even for a 14-11. Oh, look at how juicy this setup is on table 1. Come on, baby. Yes, come on. Kings with a spade. Yeah, 350 I like. 450 is good. Whatever you want to. You can't really make a mistake in this spot. Checking would be a mistake. Yeah, good bet. I think I like his bigger size now that I think about it. ISO with King Queen. You can probably. I think he has been altering his raise size, but you should be isolating, choosing your isolation sizes depending on the stack size of the person you're isolating. That c-bet's too big for me against that stack size, and he's obviously a fish. It's just unnecessarily big. It was 250 into 450, $2 there. It's going to be my super standard. He's like never ever check raising, and his range isn't going to change very much between that 50 cents and yeah. Anyway, you get the idea, I'm sure. It's definitely a bet, but I just think it can be smaller, and obviously completely unbalanced against a weak fishier player. Three bets obviously standing on table 1, and I'm probably giving up on that board. Good to see. And giving up on table 2 is very good. Sehr gut, Alter. Interesting. Not doing anything on table 1. Run while you can. I gotta say, I'm very impressed. Whoa. I was just about to say how impressed I am, and then he looked like for a second he was going to check raise on a suicide bluff. Yeah, so far very good from our German friend. He did tell me what his results have been like, but I've had a lot of students have been talking about a lot of people's results lately, so I have forgotten. I think he used to play higher, if I remember correctly. Anyway, so far so good. A lot of good bet sizes. There were a couple of spots where he thin value bet, or at least considered thin value betting, in other spots too. That was good to see. That seems okay on table 2. I might like a little bigger than that. That looks good on table 4. Ace King versus Ace King. Chop it up. Good to see min raising going on as well. I got a lot of students that come to me and min raising buttons. and I think in this day and age it's just mandatory. Pretty good spot to donk on table 2. Or just check call and expect your ace high to be good. I would probably rather check raise here. I don't hate check raising it is, but I'd rather check raise if I had like king 7 of spades, because then we don't have, well, we have significantly less showdown value. So I sometimes just call there and just expect my ace high to be good. I donk a pretty high percentage of the time. Kind of missed what went down on table thing here. Table 4 here. Don't think it was particularly interesting. When a board pairs on the turn, we're obviously giving up if we had the aggression pre-flop and whatever else. If I do miss any hands in this video, then feel free to just time link them in the comments, and I will happily go through and do a little write-up on what I think could have been done different or should have done. Wow, 3-3 over 30 hands. Guess these nittier players, I just really like betting small. Just giving them a tough time, like betting a lot and betting small. I got $1.50. Just think that these sort of nits, yeah, $2 is good. I just think against these sort of nits, their range just doesn't change at all. Interesting spot on table 3. I certainly don't mind going for the double barrel on table 1, but that means we're going to have to go for 3. We can never ever go for just 2. And I do quite like checking back. That was going to be my choice of play there. I don't mind checking back on the 4-6. Do I? Don't I? No, I think it's okay. Yeah, real small raise. Aww. I was expecting to have pretty much exactly that, like 10-10, Jack-Jack, Queen-Queen. I thought that was pretty transparent. I think that's an absolute mandatory raise there. We just never beat when he bets that size. What do we beat by? Like, a set would never bet that size, 2-pair would never bet that size. Maybe like some retarded small 2-pair, but like, even then it's like, even then it's hard for him to have it just because he's been so tight over the small sample. That I just don't expect him to have a lot of 7-8s. He just folded 2-2 from the exact same position. He just got redealt it. It'll be interesting to see if he opens it this time. Folding 2-2 pre-flop from under the gun 1 is fine if that's what you're comfortable with. That was my standard play during weekdays at the old Rush games. But yeah, I mean, he can't really have any 2-pairs because he's playing too tight. I mean, it's a small sample, but still. And just those small bets, it's just like, I think it's just very often going to be exactly what it was. Check min raise. I hate check min raises at these stakes. Yeah, just give up on it here. Oh, really? Maybe I'm misreading, but I don't think that turn call is ever good at these stakes versus a check min raise and a bet. Looks like I am misreading. Jack Queen, airball. Wow. You guys will have to tell me what you think of that. Your notes are way too long. Watch my note-taking video. Trying to remember which one it was. It was like the last episode of Life in the Fast Lane, I think. It's a rush note-taking session I did. Yeah, your notes are taking up too much of your time. I don't know if you're just doing that for the video or whatever, but yeah, I guess I was off on the check min raise. I don't know. People just always send me hands with check min raises. Always the nuts, but I don't know. I'll be interested to see what comments on that are. What other people's experiences are at 50 and 100 NL zoom. Who is this guy? I kind of want to float. Oh, he limp called under the gun. Yeah, just move on, I guess. Alright, we'll just do another couple of minutes, and then we will call this a sessionano. We'll look for the most interesting hand. I think this has been a really good video though. I think our hero here plays pretty damn well. Standard shove with jacks. I don't think he has really any glaring leaks in his game. I thought there was some good, as I said earlier, I thought there was some good thin value bet spots. I thought there was some good bet sizing going on. I think, to be honest, now that I kind of put the two together, I think he's probably playing, and he can correct me whether or not this is right, but I think he's probably playing slightly better / thinking deeper / playing looser because of this video, because he did send me the stats for this video, which were like 19, 16 something, and as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking this doesn't look like a 14-11 game, so I think he has kind of subconsciously open more, potentially 3-bet more than he normally might. But that's just part of video reviews. People tend to play slightly differently to what they normally would, and there's no way to really get around that. I might bet just slightly smaller on table 2 there with the kings. I suppose we're just setting up stacks, but I don't know, I just feel like for those sizes it's hard for him to call with anything but an ace. I didn't really see the size on table 1, but presumably it was small. Alright, we'll call these queens in the bottom right corner the finale of this episode. Let's get it all in. Oh, the queens are done. Alright, we'll call it the ace queen then. Raising? Calling? Folding? I don't really mind. I think raising's my standard. I mean, I don't think I really ever do anything but raise, but I don't hate calling to keep what could potentially be a fish in the small blind or whatever. I'm not even looking at the other hands that are happening now, because otherwise I'll get distracted and want to do others. Continue playing more hands. Yeah, we're pretty deep here too, so like, yeah, big bet looks fine. Yeah, love it. Well played. Oh, damn it, there's an ace queen that looks interesting on table 1. God damn it. Alright, ace queen's the last hand, promise. Oh, here we go, baby. Get ready to nickel ship. The nickels. Ship them. Aw, chop it up. Alright, that'll do us. This is Slow Lane 123 for Deuces Cracked. Finishing up on episode 2. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to make. I enjoyed this video. And next week will be another live sweat. Please let me know if you prefer these or the live sweats, or it's cool doing like half or whatever. I'm going to get some guest commentators in at some point, and and get them to help me do some analysis. And any more feedback, leave it in the comments. Peace.